Okay, so natural law, the solution in 30 minutes. It started off at 5, and it's gone 10, 15. Last attempt was 20 minutes, but it's actually turned out to be 30 minutes. It's a lot of information, so I can't really condense it anymore. I'm going to whiz through it at quite a pace, so some slides you'll need to pause to read. Okay. There are only 2 mistakes you can make on the road to truth and freedom: not starting and not going all the way. If you haven't ended up a vegan anarchist, you haven't gone all the way yet. And truth is belligerent in nature, especially in this day and age, because it goes against government, religion, mind control, society itself. The powers that shouldn't be are looking for total control and human slavery, which is the problem. And natural law is a solution to human slavery. So if we look to political change or monetary policy or any other symptom of our ignorance to natural law, this is dealing in the realm of effects. We need to get down to the causal factor, our ignorance to right from wrong, that has resulted in us collectively not saying no to wrongs. If you don't know, you don't say no. We could point at symptoms and shout at the screen forever, but no real positive change can occur without addressing the causal factor. This is what the controlling class is most afraid of, our collective understanding of this. And everything that's going on in the world, all the so-called entertainment, all the divide and conquer strategies, the fear, is to distract us from knowing this information. And not knowing this information is why every single revolution in the past has failed, because we haven't addressed the causal factor. You end up straight back into moral relativism, people not knowing right from wrong, and the domination culture. So we need to address the cause. Natural law, the key to unlock all the doors of self-imposed suffering and slavery. We get free through knowledge. Looking at the current human condition, only through knowledge we can diagnose and cure the current human condition of slavery and self-imposed suffering. Knowledge of natural law. Natural means inherent in nature, reality and truth. It's not made or caused by man. It exists. It is. Law, an existing condition which is binding and cannot be changed, like gravity, thermodynamics, chemical reactions, cause and effect. They are immutable. So natural law is governing dynamics that determine the effect of human behaviour, especially collective human behaviour. In Egypt, the ancient Cometian tradition, they had the goddess Ma'at, who was the goddess of truth, morality and natural law. Her feather was used at the weighing of the heart ceremony, where Thoth would scribe the outcome. This was in the hall of judgment to see if you lived a moral life or not. Natural law is basically don't steal. Don't steal freedom, rights, property, labour or truth, and do not support those that do. Natural law is objective morality. It's the objective difference between right and wrong. So rights are correct. By definition, they are based in truth. They are moral. They are in harmony with natural law. Actions based in rights do not cause harm or loss to other sentient beings. Whereas wrongs are incorrect. They are not based in truth by definition. They are immoral. They are in opposition to natural law. Actions based in them result in harm to other sentient beings. This is objective knowledge, the objective difference between right and wrong. And it is possible to know this information in this physical realm. In the UK, we had common law. We had, where a tort was something that caused harm or loss or was a breach of the peace. There was a victim. This is in line with natural law, but this has been replaced by arbitrary acts and statutes which are based in moral relativism that benefit the lawmakers. Natural law simplified, and it is this simple. Do no harm, Don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to yourself. This is called the sacred feminine, or the non-aggression principle. One of the pillars of enlightenment. There are 2 pillars of enlightenment, and they both need to be in place for this to work, for there to be true freedom and prosperity and evolution. The other pillar, the masculine pillar of take no shit, where the right of self-defense, the self-defense principle, or the sacred masculine, the right to use force against violence. So we need to know what we own. This is all based in theft. We need to know what we own, what we do not own, what we've got the right to take, what we don't have the right to take. You need to know you own your body, your possessions, and your rights in order to say no to those that are trying to take them. You need to know the difference between force and violence. If someone is violating your rights, they are stealing something that you have, then you have the right to use force up to and including deadly force. It's all about who started it. They don't have the right, then you can use force. Advocates of government would go along the lines of, only government and their goons, their order-following golems, have the right to use violence and firearms, which is tyranny. And England and most of the world have been declawed and defanged and disarmed, but we have numbers, like army ants and killer bees. Unfortunately, we don't have the right to bear arms like America, who are really a thorn in the side of this dark New World Order, and probably while they're getting absolutely hammered with all of the GMO, mind control, entertainment, toxic food, false flags, even harder than other areas. It's natural law. It should be common sense. It should be conscience, from the Latin together, consciere, to know together. But because we largely don't, and if we did all live and breathe right action, there would be order. But instead we have chaos, mental malware and entropy, suffering and slavery. We buy into moral relativism or man's law at birth and worship authority. So without belabouring right and wrong, which is the foundation of natural law, the reason why it is not common sense or common knowledge is mostly through ignorance. To ignore this information, because it's all available in the age of information. There's no such thing as nescience, unless you're a young child who cannot read, operate a computer. So those that don't know this information won't say no to evil and wrong. Those that don't KNOW won't say NO. Right? And the controlling class, the powers that shouldn't be, want us to be ignorant, apathetic and cowardly, not be able to speak the truth, not be able to use the lost word no. This is from Passio's slide. The lost word. In the enlightened state of consciousness generated through the knowledge of natural law, a human being is finally able to speak the lost word, which is no. No is the word of all power. Only when we say no to those who would claim to be our owners, those who claim that it is they who will decide which rights we have or do not have, do we stop externalizing our power to anyone outside of ourselves, and in doing so reclaim all of our rights. Sadly, very, very few people in our world have the knowledge, care and courage that is required to do this. This is why the all-powerful word is considered lost. To not care is bad, it is wrong. You do not have the right not to care. And you don't have the right not to be ignorant, because they create prisons for everyone else. It brings suffering to other people. So if we understand how reality works, you'll understand that you don't have the right to not care and not to be ignorant, and not share this information, stand in it. So reality then. The first building block is knowledge, or lack of. So this is the available information, the potential knowledge that could be processed, understood, and acted upon by the individual. This is the foundational knowledge to which we lay down for our children. Okay, this is why it's called formative years. Just as a computer would format the hard drive so we can install a decent operating system so the computer works efficiently without bugs and glitches, we teach our children, don't steal, don't hit, don't lie, share, okay? So we get it because we teach our children that. But this gets replaced. So reality, the first building block of reality is knowledge, and this leads to understanding, or lack of, which is our decision making. So based upon the quality of information taken onto the mind of the individual leads to decision making. That decision making is either based in right action and is wise, or is not. So based upon collective decision making, so each individual's actions is an outcome of their decision making, which is an application of understanding. Note here we've got knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. And these are the three final steps in the Kabbalah on the Sephiro, the tree of life. And these are the 3 steps of the Trivium. So collectively then, human behaviour results in the manifested reality, the generated result, the quantum manifestation of the collective quality of human behaviour in any given society. So collectively, we build reality, the 99%. It's quite simple. If you control what's going in, you control what's going out. So, do look into Rockefeller medicine men. These guys control the curriculum, they control the input. So there's not just overt control with the order followers upholding the immoral system. We've got it going in as well. The very first building block of reality. So through knowledge, care and courage, we can collectively turn this tide from entropy and slavery to evolution and prosperity. Collectively, we step into knowledge, understanding and wisdom. We develop the care and courage, and we can turn the tide. It takes a quantum amount. And this is what the mystery school traditions have been trying to teach us. The 2 pillars of enlightenment: do no harm, take no shit. It's what they've been teaching us. It's what religions have been trying to teach us. If you understand the esoteric or the allegorical nature of these cults, if you like. There's the solar cult, Christianity, the lunar cult, Islam, and the stellar cult, Judaism, the main religions. But throughout the world, throughout many ancient cultures, they've been trying to teach us this principle, the 2 pillars of enlightenment. Okay? It's prevalent. It's all there. If only we collectively embodied these saviour figures that so many cultures worship. Christians don't. Jesus was an anarchist. He was a vegan. He was a truth speaker. He was against the state. Most Christians love the state. They think they've got dominion over animals. They support the domination mindset and the domination religions. It's there in movies as well. People have tried to portray this. The Wizard of Oz: thoughts, actions, emotions on a spiritual journey of truth. The Holy Trinity against the military-industrial complex. In the Matrix, check out Passio's presentation on the Matrix trilogy. We talk about, first one's about what is the Matrix, the second one's why are we in the Matrix, and the third one is how we get out of the Matrix. The allegorical message, this very powerful message that is there. So let's look at some natural law principles, expressions rather, quickly. So starting off as the generative polarity, what we use to create, from the Latin generare, to create, the generative principle. What we care about is what we spend most of our time and attention and energy on, which is what we use to create our reality, okay? Let's go back to, we don't have the right to not care, because it creates a prison for everyone. The generative polarity. Two polar opposites, love and fear. Not love and hate, it's love and fear. So if you're in the polarity of love, you allow information in. You allow consciousness in. You want to know. The opposite of that is fear. You're unconscious. You don't want to know. You don't want to allow information in. You're ignorant. You refuse the truth. Whereas if you're in the polarity of love, you accept the truth, which leads to knowledge. That knowledge leads to sovereignty, or internal monarchy. You are the ruler of your own house. You're in dominion. Your thoughts, actions, and emotions are in unison. That will lead to external anarchy, or freedom. Anarchon, without rulers. True freedom. Okay? True freedom is the existence of no domination, without any masters and no slaves. The very fact that we, or most people, associate anarchy with chaos is evidence of mind control, because that shows that people think freedom is chaos and they're in fear and they want masters, which is exactly what the controlling class want. So if you're in the polarity of fear, you're ignorant, which leads to internal confusion. If you don't understand the non-aggression principle, you don't understand the self-defense principle, you're not in control of the self. You're confused. You've got internal anarchy. Okay? If you don't control the self internally, you get controlled externally. Again, this is the most occulted information. This is what they do not want people to understand this. Collectively, as we now know how reality is structured, collectively, if most people are in the polarity of fear, this creates chaos, which is bad, right? That's where we're at. We are in a state of control and chaos. We are not in a state of freedom and order. We need to transition there. We need to take this information on board and share it with others. We need to live and breathe this stuff. Natural law is truth and morality. Subjective truth, objective morality. Truth exists, and there is such a thing as objective morality. Because truth and morality not only oppose government, authority, mind control, religion, scientism, culture, and society, right? It's antisocial. Truth and morality is antisocial because it goes against lifelong and born into belief systems. Truth is belligerent in nature, as I've said, because it's confrontational. It cuts through the facades and lies which are prevalent. We can see that both truth and morality are virtually non-existent in the world. So let's look at what opposes them. We've already touched on man's law and moral relativism, which is the opponent of objective morality. The opponent of truth is solipsism. Now, this is heavily propagated by the controlling class. They have their religion, and their religion is Satanism, and this is a satanic sin. It doesn't matter if you believe in their religion or what you think their religion is, because these guys take action on their beliefs. And many, many people have bought this utter BS. This notion is heavily propagated, especially in the new age or the new cage religion, right? It's very, very dangerous, because if you don't think truth exists, or knowledge is knowable, and it's all subjective and there's no definitive truth, then you won't ever seek it. You won't ever step. Remember, there's two mistakes you can make on the path to truth: not starting and not going all the way. If you don't even think truth exists, then you're not going to start. Solipsism. Ego-inflated notion that only one's own mind is sure to exist. Solipsists would contend that perception is different from reality, and everything is subjective to the individual, and reality is not objective. This is essentially playing God, being able to pick and choose what is real. This is the enemy of knowledge and truth. You'll never set out on the path to truth if you don't believe that it can be known. This is an out-of-control ego. So this person's lifetime of research is equally as valid as this ignoramus's lack of research. Solipsism is a mental illness. You basically believe you're God. You can pick and choose what you think is right and what is wrong, what's reality and what's not. This is an out of control ego. This is fear based. You basically don't want to see reality for what it is. This is spiritual infancy. Grow up. Know that truth exists. 2 + 2 = 4. Right? That's not relative or subjective. Gravity isn't relative or subjective. Your belief in it's not going to affect you walking off that cliff. Truth is. It's unwavering. It's what's happened. It's what's happening. Regardless of individuals' opinion. The truth exists completely apart from people's opinions and beliefs. So we need to understand this. If you're a solipsist, then sort it out. Know that truth exists. There's a cure for this. It's called the Trivium. The threefold path to truth and wisdom. This was banned in the days of Caesar because they did not want the slaves being able to critical think and know truth. So the first step, knowledge. Second step, understanding. The third step, wisdom. Right? In other words, do your homework. The input, do your homework. Get as much information from as many different sources as you can. Process it. Take out what can't be true, the inconsistencies, and you're left with truth. Alright? It's very important. Use the Trivium. Do your homework. Alongside the Trivium, the Quadrivium was taught. And you've got 3 and 4 there, which add up to 7. Right? Like the 7 visible planets, 7 chakras, 7 endocrine systems, as many septenary bits and pieces. Check out Manly P. Hall's work. He's done a lot of work on that. So the Quadrivium, 4 liberal arts, arithmetic, geometry, music and astronomy. These form a balanced brain. You're exercising both hemispheres of the brain. The creative aspect and the logical aspect, the male-female aspects, to create the chemical wedding, the holy marriage, the sacred masculine, sacred feminine, alright? So this is why it's not taught in any schools, the Trivium and Quadrivium, because you get very truly holistically intelligent people with intellect and gens genere, care, right? That's why government indoctrination centres, schools don't teach the Quadrivium and Trivium. Not they used to. So let's look at natural law expressions. Natural law, objective morality, right and wrong, based upon principles and truth that are inherent to creation. They're harmonised with through knowledge and understanding. They are universal, they exist and apply anywhere in the universe. They cannot be changed. Whereas man's law is based upon beliefs, the constructs of mind. They are complied with due to fear of punishment. They differ upon location based upon the whim of legislators. Changes over time based upon the whim of legislators. Whatever benefits the lawmaker. Now obviously right and wrong doesn't change as you cross imaginary lines or borders. A right doesn't magically become a wrong and vice versa. We need to step out of this religion of man's law. This infantile state of mind. Taxation is theft, a threat of violence. Licenses and permits is slavery. Selling us our rights that we inherently had as long as we're not causing harm or loss to others. Prohibition is a claim of ownership of the individual and their consciousness. It's trying to control what someone is allowed to put in their own body. You know, this miracle plant, and Jack here is quite right here, hemp can save the world, but human slavery must end first. Cause and effect, dealing with the causal factor. Okay? like with the revolutions. We're not going to get any positive change unless we deal with the causal factor. Look into hemp, look into industrialised hemp, build cars with it. We can stop chopping down all the trees, stop drilling all the oil. It can replace all plastics. Third world countries could survive on this. It's one of the most complete and nutritious foods on the planet. Hemp seed, add it to your diets, especially if you're vegan, with vitamin K, vitamin D. It's got all the proteins, your aminos, all the omegas in perfect ratio. And take some entheogens. Break the law, right? Not the real law though, because you know you own your own body and you know that you can put in it what you want. These are plant teachers. Use them consciously. They many, many benefits. Look into it. Do some. Entheogens. Entheogenare. En within, theo, God or the divine, gengenare, to create the divine within. Christ consciousness, right action, okay? They got called these names for reasons. Psychedelics, psyche the loon, psyche the mind, the loon to make clear, to make the mind clear. Don't be a zombie, guys. Girls, activate your thoughts, emotions and actions. Develop true holistic intelligence. Intelligence. Masculine intellect and the feminine genare, the creative aspect, bring together the one eye on. The sacred marriage of the male and female. The alchemical wedding. The word intelligence is largely overused and associated with intellect only. Okay, true holistic intelligence. This is the true meaning of the word. Stephen Hawking isn't intelligent. He's overly left brain. He doesn't even think there's such a thing as free will. Alright? It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society, a profoundly satanic society, because we've lapped up all of these religions. We are sick. Religion, from the Latin religare, to bind, to thwart from progress. It's holding us back. All religions are holding us back. In this case, religionists are mental, emotional and spiritual children. They dogmatically accept the exoteric cover story. They're ignorant to astrotheology. They're blind to allegories. This is fear-based thinking to absolve real-world action and personal responsibility, as it's all in the hands of God. So all action is futile. The rapture's any minute. Religionists are cowards. They do not follow in the footsteps of their saviour, Jesus, who stood up to the control system. He flogged the bankers. He was a speaker of truth. He was an anarchist. He was a vegan. Christians don't do that, like I've said earlier on. Religare. Religions holding humans back from true evolution and positive change. And this is why religions are in place. The Satanists want to hold us back. Dark Luciferians want to hold us back, so they've got all control. They've got the whole world enslaved. This is going on, whether you believe it or not. If you need to grow in consciousness if you can't see what's going on around you. Now the religion is money. This is the one worldwide religion. There's some green language that goes into this. Mono-eye, the one eye, right? We're chasing paper rather than true holistic intelligence. Fiat money. Fiat means let it be. So basically they're playing God. They're saying let this be. Let this be the one worldwide religion that all humans spend most of their time and attention on, rather than right action. Scientism, it's not true modern science. These scientism, worshippers of the scientism ignore truths. They ignore truth about mercury, truth about fluoride, the truth about the cancer industry. Check out the Cancer Act. Run from the Cure documentary. No, these peer-reviewed. This is Rockefeller indoctrination. We only believe what the government and government-funded scientists say it's truth. It's true, right? Then what really got me to do this short presentation is all the whilst there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields. And I'll add human suffering and slavery to that. So all the whilst there are slaughterhouses, there will be battlefields, suffering and human slavery. We cannot expect to be free from suffering all the whilst we support the enslavement and suffering of other beings. So this is looking at anarchism and veganism using the law of correspondence, as above so below. Right? It's really critical that anarchists and vegans and everybody understands this. You know, at the end of the day, if you can't tell the difference between that and that, there's something wrong with you. You're part of the problem. With over 250,000 edible plants, it's just selfish to eat flesh and support murder to appease your base pleasures. You are a bad person. So Carnism then, where Carnists would profess that they love animals. So you can't love them and eat them, or are you speciesist? Carnism is a religion based entirely in violence, saying that it's somehow necessary and or morally justifiable to consume dead animal flesh. A religion in the true sense of the word, from the Latin religare, to tie back, to hold back, to bind. From truth, real evolution, freedom and prosperity. And is it any wonder we wonder why we're enslaved when we sacrifice billions of animals every year in satanic blood sacrifices? This is the land of cognitive dissonance, lying to yourself, saying that you love animals and you eat them. This is enshrined in moral relativism, and a society that embraces moral relativism will never be free. A society that embraces moral relativism will never be free. So I'm going to look at 4 natural laws here that apply to Carnism. We've got the law of freedom, where morality and freedom are directly proportionate. As morality increases, as does freedom. As morality declines, as does freedom. Anarchists need to understand this, that you can't just be out of being dominated yourself. You need to stop dominating. You need to become more moral. The universe won't grant us freedom unless we practice freedom for all beings. The law of assimilation, you are what you eat. What you put into your body becomes you. You're going to put in dead, rotting flesh and pussy, antibiotic, growth hormone-laden, fear-laden dairy. The fact is that pretending humans are omnivores causes the most amount of death in the Western world. So let that sink in for a minute. It is a demonstrable fact that humans are healthier on an eclectic, organic, plant-based diet, manifesting less disease and increased vitality. The law of correspondence. We cannot transcend these laws. These are laws. These aren't beliefs. As above, so below. We cannot be free whilst we unnecessarily enslave and butcher our fellow earthlings. The big one, natural law, don't steal, is always going to be wrong because these animals' lives aren't ours to take. Animals' lives are not ours to take, so it'll always be wrong under natural law. Okay, so veganism is both what is right and correct. It is moral in objective morality, and it is correct for what we put into our own bodies. Okay, and there's a key word here as well, it's necessary. It's not necessary to support the wanton slaughter of animals, of our fellow earthlings. Humans have got a neocortex, which gives us moral culpability, it gives us philosophy and space travel. Now, do you think we should be using that to act as guardians and caretakers for this planet? Or do you think we should use it to abuse and dominate and consume and destroy, which is what we're doing now? This is all part of the dominating mindset. Anarchists really need to get this, because we've got to go all the way with truth, right? Remember? So just like Carnism being a religion of domination, Statism or authoritarianism is a religion of domination, where there's sacred symbols and texts, there's deities, there's crusades, human sacrifice. And this is the belief that a group of people have the right to rule others. They can make up right and wrong and enforce it with laws and violence because they've got the order-following house slave golems that do their dirty work for them. It's a religion. Temples and monuments, mystical rituals, common prayer. Incidentally, vote comes from Latin votum, which means to make a wish or a pledge, usually to a deity, not a religion. Wishful thinking that one slave master is going to whip you less than the next. Who do you think is going to win? Ultimate Warrior or the Undertaker? It's all a stage, it's all an act. Two wings of the same bird, right? Yeah, if you haven't grown up and worked out, I feel sorry for you. You're part of the problem. You've got a religious belief. You're holding us back collectively. And this is upheld in violence by these order followers, right? And they're cult members. These people are the builders of the Dark New World Order. You need to understand that. Help for Heroes is a sick NLP psyop because it plays on your emotions. These aren't heroes. They're cowards. And they're building a prison for their own kind. Right? They're murderers, not white knights. This glorifies it. This feeds Stockholm Syndrome. Perpetuates the dominating mindset, dominating culture. They're cult members, and let me explain, because most people will have an incorrect connotation with that. They go through isolation in their barracks and social cliques. They go through uniformity. They're all made to look the same. Uniform, one form. They've got the same haircuts. They go through physical and mental trauma. They're beaten down and broken. They're rebuilt into an automaton, an order-following house slave. They go through indoctrination through repetition of marching, of songs. There's a them versus us mentality, squaddies and civvies, right? They're fed high-carb, low-nutrient dense food to starve the higher brain of vital nutrition. This helps to keep the reptilian brain, the fight or flight, hive mind, order-following complex, the primary control system. So loads of pastas, potatoes, noodles, and not much fruit, veg, nuts, etc. These are cult techniques. They're cult members. They're under mind control, and they're serving evil. They're building this control system, and we need to understand that. We need to wake them up. The less order followers we have, the less bloodshed there's going to be when it does go hot, and it's going to go hot. There's going to be a time when enough is enough. I'm at that stage now, but there's no point doing anything because we haven't got a critical mass of understanding. These order followers are bad people because they're just following orders. They don't care about the morality. They just do it anyway, just for a pittance from some worldly trinkets. They're sellouts. They've sold their soul. Soul dire, right? Wearing their dog tags. They're obedient dogs. Kill, dog. Wake up, man. Wake up. Blessed are they who earn their livelihood without harming others. When sleeping women wake, true positive change will occur. So we need to all become authentic beings that value morality over paychecks. Right? Simple as that. Simple as that. When we do, when people start quitting all and any government organisation, then we've got a real awakening going on. We are far, far away from that at the moment. We're in a prison for thieves, right? Knowing what we own and what we don't own. And because we've got people that are taking and stealing, we've got a collective prison. As I went through how reality is built, reality is a quantum construct. So there's one distinct divide between human beings, and that would be whether the individual believes in the right to dominate others or not, whether through the religion of authoritarianism or Carnism. It is a belief that some people have the moral right to dominate others, and therefore they believe in slavery. Know your rights, know what you own, know what you have, know you have, sorry, no, you do not have the right to harm, lie or coerce another person if they are not causing harm or stealing. Right? To know and not to do is to really not know or care. To know this and act it, care. And that Buddha quote, only 2 mistakes you can make on the path to truth, not starting, not going all the way. You've got to go all the way with this. Anarchists need to stop supporting the domination of animals and understand the natural laws, like the law of correspondence and the law of freedom. Without understanding that, it makes it impossible. They're just after my freedom. They don't care about the freedom of other beings. It's all about, you're not going to be free until everyone's free, right? Anarchists need to go all the way with the non-aggression principle, just as vegans need to go all the way of not supporting human domination. This is a complete, holistic understanding of rights and wrongs and property ownership, and the 2 pillars of enlightenment that make this work, the non-aggression principle and the self-defense principle. Essentially, anarchists and vegans are based in the same principles. Now, I've used mind-controlled images here of how people perceive anarchists and how people perceive vegans. Right, the violent anarchist and the malnourished tree-hugging vegan. Right? Whereas both of these principles are based in do no harm, do not dominate, don't steal rights and freedoms, don't steal lives. Right? They're not yours to take. Go all the way with truth and don't support any domination. Together, we can achieve this. We must unite upon the basis of what we have in common, the desire for true freedom, without domination. We can transcend this fear-based control dynamic, this ego, master, slave hierarchy, or this control system. This is allegorical for the real world. The copies, the clones at the bottom, the cop-outs, the cops enslaving their own kind to benefit monetary rich control freaks. We can transcend this current human condition if we step into the clarity of love through knowledge and care and the courage to take the right action. Basically, be excellent to each other. That symbol in the middle represents love and freedom. Anarchy is freedom, without masters, without slaves. Okay? So in a nutshell, like the king of pop, I won't get into any killing of the king ritualistic murders there, but he said it very, very well. Develop true respect, from the Latin spectare and re, re. Re means again, spectare to look at. Take another look, look again. Take another look at the self. Have a look in the mirror and make the required change. Develop true respect through knowledge of natural law. Thank you.